Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Well, I am really excited today to share with you my thoughts on another Criterion Collection 4K Ultra HD disc. Now, I've done reviews on this channel of Citizen Kane, Menace to Society, and Uncut Gems. Those 4K edition reviews are on this channel, so if you haven't checked out those reviews of those titles, they're all excellent, by the way. Definitely check out those reviews after you've watched this video. But in this video today, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on another 4K release from Criterion of a classic film that's been in the collection for some time. It's Spine number 44, and it's 1948's The Red Shoes. This is the 1948 film directed by legendary filmmaking duo Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger. And it stars Maura Shearer here on the cover here. She plays ballet dancer Victoria Page. You also have Anton Walbrook, who plays Boris Lemontov. He is the ballet director or the impresario. You've also got Marius Goring, who plays composer Julian Craster, and is also the love interest of Maura Shearer's character, Victoria Page. There are also other cast members of note in here. I'm going to go ahead and open up this package here and read to you some other cast members of note, because they play just tremendous roles in this film and they're fantastic performers. They use actual professional ballet dancers in this production. So in addition to Anton Walbrook, Marius Goring, and Maura Shearer in her film debut, you also have Robert Helpman. He played Ivan in this film. You've got Leonid Massini, who played Grisha in this film. You have Albert Basserman, who played the character Ratov in this film, and Ludmila Tishirina played Boranskava in this film. So just some amazing cast members in what is an absolutely extraordinary film from this filmmaking duo. Now, Powell and Pressburger are responsible for a couple of other titles in the Criterion Collection in Technicolor. You've got the 1947 film Black Narcissus, which I highly recommend. That came out in 1947, a year before The Red Shoes. And you've also got The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. That film is also in Technicolor, and it's one of the classic films in British cinema history that I highly recommend. Check that one out as well. But The Red Shoes, I'll read the description on the back here. It says, The Red Shoes, the singular fantasia from Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger, is cinema's quintessential backstage drama, as well as one of the most glorious Technicolor feasts ever concocted for the screen. Maura Shearer is a rising star ballerina torn between an idealistic composer and a ruthless impresario intent on perfection. Featuring outstanding performances, blazingly beautiful cinematography by Jack Cardiff, Oscar-winning sets and music, and an unforgettable, hallucinatory central dance sequence is called The Red Shoes, and the chapter stops on the disc. This beloved classic, dazzlingly restored, stands as an enthralling tribute to the life of an artist. And that is a very apt description for this absolutely extraordinary film. I really enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed revisiting this film. It's an absolute classic. This is Martin Scorsese's, one of his favorite films. It's actually in his top 10 list of favorite films. I think this came in at number 2. So this is his second favorite film of all time. And Martin Scorsese features prominently in the features on this disc, including he's on the commentary on this disc, and his contributions are fantastic in this edition. So overall, this is, I'll just cut to the chase. This is highly recommended. I mean, it's just a fantastic film. And if you want to know in summary what The Red Shoes is essentially all about, it's basically about the obsession with art and the lengths to which an artist will go to create perfect and beautiful art. And the amount of work that it takes to make art great involves a tremendous sacrifice. And oftentimes it's the people that are closest to the artist, the people that the artist cares most about, that pay the biggest price for the artist's investment in their art to make it great. And that essentially is what this film is about, is this ballet dancer, Maura Shearer. She plays Victoria Page. She's torn between her love for the love of her life, played by Marius Goring's character, who plays Julian Craster. So she's in love with Julian Craster's character. He's the composer of the Red Shoes Ballet. She's in love with him, but she's also torn because she is obsessed with her dancing and trying to create the perfect performance. And she's pulled into that by the ballet director, played by Anton Walbrook, who plays Lemantov. So she's torn between those two things, investing in her art as well as the love of her life. And which will she choose? Which way will she go? How much of herself will she invest in each of those two very important things? So that's a big part of the theme of this film, is the sacrifice that artists make to invest in their work. So I really enjoyed this movie from that perspective, because it really gives you a lens into not only this story, but it just speaks to artists in every field of art, even to this day, where there is artists who are in music, film, television, painting, song, whatever the case may be. This film speaks to the level of sacrifice that it takes to make great art. So I definitely appreciate the film from that standpoint, and I highly recommend it. This film is loosely based on the Hans Christian Andersen fable by the same name, The Red Shoes. And so this film, follows along that fable's central themes. And I just think that's very fascinating about this particular film. And overall, this is just a tremendous release from the Criterion Collection. The picture quality on this 4K disc is absolutely phenomenal. As compared to the Blu-ray disc that came out a few years ago, or actually 10 years ago now, I think, in 2010, this is a step up in quality from a picture quality standpoint over the Blu-ray disc from 2010. This is definitely a step up in quality. It looks different in a couple of different ways. One is, with that Dolby Vision HDR, you are getting a slightly darker image on here, but you're getting a little bit more detail and nuance in the darker scenes than you would get on that Blu-ray disc. The Blu-ray disc from 2010 is a little bit brighter in some ways. In some areas or scenes, it's a little bit almost blown out, but that Blu-ray disc is a phenomenal picture. This is a slight step up over that in detail, clarity, contrast, just overall depth of the image is just slightly better than that Blu-ray from 2010. In the included pamphlet, you do get some information about the master, and there's a restoration demonstration that's on the supplements here that I think is very informative about the work that went into restoring the Red Shoes and basically rescuing this film. And you also have some information about the great work that Martin Scorsese's team do to rescue a lot of these older films and bring them back to life, and how they raise money to restore a lot of these older films. So I think that's really interesting. So as you open up the package, of course, you have this nice pamphlet on the inside, and you've also got the two discs in here. So you got the 4K Ultra HD disc here, the regular Blu-ray in here as well. And I'll pull out the discs so you can see the art on the inside of the case. So you see the stage there, looks very nice. I like that. And the actual pamphlet itself is the same pamphlet that appears in the standard Blu-ray edition from several years ago. This incredible essay from David Ehrenstein called Dancing for Your Life that I highly recommend reading. At the very beginning of the essay, a very central question that Lemantov, the ballet director, asks Victoria Page, played by Amora Shearer. He asks her, "Why do you want to dance?" And her response is, "Why do you want to live?" And that really foreshadows and speaks to the artist's obsession that you see played out in this film. It's called Dancing for Your Life. That's the essay. Just fantastic, beautiful. Great pictures in here. Gotta love that. Another nice picture I like there. Very nice. And toward the back, you have some information on the master that I will read very briefly. It says about the master. It says, "The Red Shoes is presented in its original theatrical aspect ratio of 1.37 to 1. This 4K digital master was created in Dolby Vision HDR, high dynamic range, from the 2009 2K digital restoration, which was made from the Technicolor 35mm original camera negatives and optical tracks. There is a restoration demonstration on the disc, and it's the same demonstration that was on the previous Blu-ray edition that really explains a lot about the Technicolor process and how they use three strips of film for the red, green, and blue. They shoot it in black and white on 3 different color strips of red, green, and blue. I don't fully understand that. That's my limited understanding of the Technicolor process. It's an amazing process that Powell and Pressburger perfected back in the 1940s for these amazing films that they put out with The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, Black Narcissus, and The Red Shoes. And I'm trying to think of what other films that they did in Technicolor, but this is one of the very best films that they ever made. It's one of Martin Scorsese's favorite films, and the Technicolors with this presentation are just beautifully realized on this 4K Ultra HD disc. This disc looks absolutely phenomenal. The audio is an uncompressed monaural soundtrack, and it sounds just fine. It does the job just fine, but the star of this disc is the beautiful new 4K presentation, which is a slight upgrade over the standard Blu-ray from 2010. So as far as supplements on this disc, in this edition from Criterion, basically you're getting the same supplements that were on the old Blu-ray edition. There are no new supplements in this edition, but the supplements that are on here are absolutely fantastic. You do get a commentary on here, and I think they recorded certain aspects of the commentary separately. So you do get Martin Scorsese on this commentary, and you also have Maura Shearer, who played the ballet dancer. She's on here, as well as Marius Goring, who played Julian Craster, her love interest. He is on here as well. And you also have Jack Cardiff, the cinematographer, and the composer Brian Easdale. And you also have, of course, I think I mentioned Martin Scorsese. That is an absolutely amazing commentary, highly recommended. Each one of them comes in at different points, and I think they record the tracks separately, and they comment on different aspects and different scenes of this movie and the making of this film, and it's just a great commentary track all the way around. And I love hearing the perspectives of the actors Marius Goring and Maura Shearer, who of course by now are no longer with us, but this commentary was from 1994, so great that they were able to contribute in that regard. And then you've got a nice documentary on here called A Profile of the Red Shoes, which is a documentary on the making of the film. You have that nice restoration demonstration that I mentioned. And then probably one of my favorite features on here is an interview with Michael Powell's widow, who is editor Thelma Shumacher Powell. Thelma Shumacher is a longtime collaborator with Martin Scorsese. She was his longtime editor on many of his films throughout the year, and she gives an amazing interview at the 2009 Cannes Film Festival. She talks about the creative process and the price of good art. One of the things that she and Marty, when they were working together, that they discovered is that when you look back to silent films and a lot of the older films, they discovered that everything that's being done today and that they were doing back when they made some of these movies, it's all been done before. So it was really fascinating hearing that, because back when they were doing silent films and doing some of these older movies, they experimented wildly and did all kinds of different things, trying different techniques of filmmaking. So very interesting hearing that. And she talked a lot about the importance of film preservation and the work that Martin Scorsese does to restore a lot of these films, and just the overall process of preserving older films, and the fact that a lot of silent films are forever lost. They're lost forever. We'll never get them back. But just the importance of restoring great films like this, The Red Shoes, and the work that Martin Scorsese's Institute is involved in. She talked about the history of film and the history of women film editors, and just talked about her own aspirations professionally, and that she enjoyed editing films for Martin Scorsese and what that process was like working with him. And the other thing she mentioned was the influence that this film, now this film is Martin Scorsese's second favorite film, And she talked about the influence that the Red Shoes has had on other films that Martin Scorsese made, such as like Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio. That scene where he's running down the staircase and how that's an homage to a scene in Here from the Red Shoes, and just other influences that the Red Shoes has had on Martin Scorsese's films. The last thing that she talked about, one of the last things she talked about was that filmmaking should be urgent, that it should be almost like, you know, almost like having to pee really bad, that unless you have something to say, don't say it, and you shouldn't make a film unless you have to. It was her way of saying, don't make a film unless you absolutely have to, unless it's absolutely urgent. And I just thought that was a tremendous interview from Thelma Shumacher Powell, longtime contributor with Martin Scorsese and the wife of one of the directors of this film, Mike Powell. And then you've got some publicity stills and behind the scenes photos and other features on here, a trailer. Of course, you have the wonderful essay in here from David Ehrenstein. And overall, this is a fantastic package from the Criterion Collection. Again, the special features on this disc are the same that were in the previous Blu-ray edition, so no new special features. Really, the upgrade that you're getting with this edition is a new 4K Ultra HD presentation for the Red Shoes. And the question is it worth, if you already have the standard Blu-ray edition, is it worth the upgrade? I would say that that is really a subjective thing. I can tell you that this new 4K Ultra HD presentation is slightly better than the standard Blu-ray. I don't think it's, you know, leaps and bounds better, but it is better overall. And it's the best presentation for this film available, and it's the best the film has ever looked. So if you want the Red Shoes and the best presentation available, I would definitely recommend picking this up on the next Barnes & Noble sale or Amazon sale. The Red Shoes from 1948 by Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger, highly, highly recommended. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this film? Do you have a favorite from filmmakers Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger? Let me know if you've seen The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp or Black Narcissus or any other Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger films and what you think of those films. Also, let me know what titles from Criterion you are most looking forward to in the month of January and February that are coming out from the Criterion Collection. Let me know that in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.